let's get back to reading, shall we? Hello everybody, and welcome back to a little bit more of our regularly scheduled programming. If you've seen any of the previous videos, I think you will know that April is a very good month in this household when it comes to reading, because it is the spring equinox of the Orilium Readathon, which is a readathon that's hosted by G over at the Book Roast. And if you've seen the other video that I've uploaded in the past week, then you will know that I've also been in a bit of a reading slump, which means that I'm hoping that the Orilium Readathon is going to get me out. Now, for the Orilium Readathon, again, if you want any of the information, I will leave links in the description down below, and you can just jump in and come in on the fun. If you are a person who also loves a readathon that's very character-based, story-based, like kind of D&D inspired, you are going to love this one. So beware to fall down the rabbit hole. So for this spring equinox and for this year, I've decided to do, instead of usually doing like 2 readathons, I did decide, because again, we're coming out of a reading slump, I'm gonna do 2 things that are based on Orilium. And again, if you've seen the April reading journal setup, then you will know that I'm doing both the demonologist calling, which means that I have to read 6 books, but I'm also going to try the Impling summoning ritual, which also gets me back to being able to read 6 books. Now, I have already had a little bit of a look, and I am very happy to say that I can double up on every single prompt. I am very excited. Let's just go through the list, shall we? So I need to actually succeed in 6 classes this equinox to be able to go to the autumn equinox, which is coming up in September. The first class I need to succeed is the conjuration class, which is the focus this year is inspiration boosts. And the prompt for that is the first enticing book I see on social media. Now for this one, we had Donna coming to the rescue. Now I just opened my Instagram and this was the first post that I saw. So I'm very excited because I had 3 books on this list, but then I had to also check myself, because one of the books that is on this list that I actually wanted, or in this picture that I wanted to read or that I want to get to, is 5 Broken Blades. Now, if you know me, you know that finishing series and starting series is kind of a thing over here. So I decided to opt out of 5 Broken Blades and was very happy that I went to the next picture, because Circe by Madeline Miller is on there. I have yet to also read The Song of Achilles by the same author, and I've heard nothing but great things about that book. So I'm very curious to see how I'm going to feel about this one. This is a standalone, so this is not going to bite me in the butt. And this just feels like a very safe bet. It's also not that big, it's quite short. So I also have the audiobook for this, so I can double up on the ways that I'm reading this. This is a library book, so this does have a date where it needs to go back. So I'm hoping that's going to help me in getting this one done. The second class is Demonology, obviously, for which we are studying Common Demonic Dwellings, which means that I have to read a book with a house on the cover. Now, for this, I was very excited because if you have seen the previous video of the reading journal setup, you will know that we are getting back into Olympus and in Rick Riordan's world of Olympus. Paula and myself needed to take a little bit of a mental health break and to just get ourselves back to 100%. And so we put it on a little bit of a pause, but we are now getting back to Olympus, and we're coming back into a new series. Now, I know what you're thinking. Didn't you not yet finish Percy Jackson? Yes. But Rick Riordan did take a break between writing the 5th and the 6th book of Percy Jackson. And in between that, he wrote The Heroes of Olympus. Now, The Heroes of Olympus' first book, The Lost Hero, has a house on the cover. Perfect. So for this prompt, it's working out perfectly. This is the book that I'm going to be reading for that. The next class is Elemental Studies, and for this one, we are studying temperature controls. So we had to find a book that has a temperature word in it. And for this one, I'm going to be honest, I had a pretty rough time. Now, I really would have liked to read Heated Rivalry for this, but then again, that I would also have to first read the first book in the series and then go to the second book, and then we're also starting a new series, and it was all of the things. Now, I did go into the Magical Readathon Discord, and I asked them, and they told me that it could work, which is Air Fire. Again, a read-along book. If you've been around here, you will know that Donna and myself, who has helped me out with the first prompt, with the Instagram post, you will know that we are doing a Throne of Glass read-along, and for this month, we're reading Air of Fire. Now, have I finished Assassin's Blade? No, I have not. We're just gonna leave it at that. Shall we? But, you know, this will actually force me to get back up to date with the series, so I'm not mad about it. The next class is Spells and Incantations, for which we're studying in fashion spells and incantations, for which I had to read a book that is currently on the bestseller list. Now, for this, again, I had the same dilemma with series, and we could either go for Project Hail Mary or The Housemaid. Now, both of these books have been in my periphery. They've also just been made into movies. The one thing that is keeping me from going with The Housemaid by Frida McFadden is because I've already seen the movie, so I know the twist, and I don't know if that's gonna mean that I'm not gonna be as gripped by the book as I really want to be. Now, if any of you have read this and you've seen the movie, and you're still convinced that I should read the book, please let me know, because I could be convinced. But then again, reading The Housemaid would mean actually starting a new series, so you see where we're going with this. So Project Hail Mary, it might just well be. Next class is Lore, for which we're studying the ancient speculative lore, for which I had to read a dystopia or a utopia. Now, this one is going to be The King's Cage, which is the third book in the Red Queen series by Victoria Aveyard. I have read the first two, again, want to keep going. They're just two pigeons that landed on the balcony. That was very strange, and the cat is fast asleep, so let's hope that stays that way, because otherwise... So, yes, King's Cage is the one that I'm going to be reading. Now, I was quite surprised that this was a dystopia. Now I could see it has Hunger Games vibes, so that I get. But then we have all of the like powers and such, which leans more fantasy. So I'm guessing this is like a dystopian fantasy in that realm. So it fits. It fits, and it goes towards finishing series or continuing series. So I'm not complaining. Now for this one, we need a prop, because we need to flip a coin to figure out if we're going to read a book above or below 400 pages. So let's see what we get. Doing this on camera is going to be a journey, so don't judge me, okay? Don't judge me. Let's do that again. We have Tales. Okay, we have Tales. Now I just need to check what Tales is. I think it was above 400 pages. Over 400 pages. Okay. Now for this, it actually works out perfectly, which is great, because I actually have yet to finish Assassin's Blade. And if we want to get to air fire, we need to finish this first. Now, I have already started this, so I'm gonna need to head off to the Guild Emporium and get myself a scroll. But I do have some guild reputation points from the previous year that I've joined, so I should be able to get it. So, works out perfectly, honestly. So those are the class books that I need to finish to actually succeed this year. But as I mentioned, this year I've also added the little challenge of the Impling summoning ritual, which also means that I have to read 6 books. Now this is where we head off to. So that threw a wrench in everything. As you can tell, it's a different day. And also, I should have checked. I really should have checked. It's quite funny because when we get back to my previously made video, you will see that one of the things that I say is like, oh, well, you know, it's the year of like being kind to myself and not being so strict with all of the rules. Could I double up on all of these things? Of course I can. So I did have a look and I did see if I could do this, and this is one of those projects that you can do throughout the entirety of the year between equinoxes. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to set a TBR for the Impling summoning ritual that I'm going to do between this semester and obviously the autumn equinox. So, and all of the books are books that I want to read or that I'm currently getting to or whatever the case may be. So am I technically adding 6 more books to my TBR? Yes, I am. Am I going to be reading 12 books this month? Absolutely not. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to obviously focus on the class books first, the books that are for passing the semester, and then when I have time or in between or if it fits or if the mood strikes, I'm going to go and see if I can read a book for the Impling summoning ritual. And if it's not done, then we're just going to transfer it over to the next couple of months. Okay, so one of the things that makes this Impling summoning ritual very interesting is that you actually have to read the books in the order of the actual prompts. So I'm going to go in order as well, and hopefully we can get there. So I'm going to start in the left corner, which is a book between 400 and 450 pages. And for this one, don't come at me. Don't come at me. I decided to go with the fine print. Now this is, I think, 430 odd pages, and these are books that my parents got me for my birthday, and they're lovely editions. Now, I have read this whole series before, but I do kind of want to go back to it, and this also fits one of the prompts for the Goober Readathon for the month of April. One of the prompts was to read a nostalgic read, and this one definitely fits for me. So that's why we're going with this one. Is this already starting a new series? Yes, it is. But keep watching. Just keep watching. Just hold on. The next prompt is One Letter Appears Twice. And for this, it's a book that I've already started. But again, I think I'm going to have more than enough guild reputation points. And also, because it doesn't really matter when you read these books, I don't think it really matters. But that is Shadow of Night by Deborah Harkness. This is the second book in the Discovery of Witches series, which, you know, I've watched the TV show and was obsessed. And then I wanted to get through the entire series and started reading the books first, figured out it was a series, started watching the series, and left the books behind. Now, we know that Deborah Harkness has continued after the first trilogy, so I now obviously have to continue as well. But for that, I first need to get up to date to the books that she has written in the trilogy. because obviously there's going to be details that are in the books that are not going to be in the TV show. So we're at book 2 currently. I'm not that far into it, as you can see, but I am very excited to get into this because we have now gone back in time. The next book is a book that was released this or last year, and for this, I am kind of, would it be cheating? I don't think so, because this is a book that isn't really for a class, but is for the Order of the Crescent Book Club, which is the Agnes Aubert's Mystical Cat Shelter by Heather Fawcett, which is the author of like the Encyclopedia of Fairies and all of those books. So I did start reading the encyclopedia books, but DNF'd it, like soft DNF'd it, because I wasn't really in the mood. But if it is kind of in the same vibe, this one, then I think we're getting some cozy fantasy. And with the headspace that I'm in, I think it might work. I think I might like a nice, easy, cozy fantasy vibe. The next prompt is blue on the cover, and for this one, I decided to go with a standalone by an author that I love very much, which is Under the Whispering Door by TJ Klune. If you've been around for a while, you know that I read A House in the Cerulean Sea, which made TJ Klune an instant, I want to read everything he's ever written. So this is going to be me getting to the backlog of TJ Klune's work, and also not shooting myself in the foot by starting a new series, such as, let's say, Wolfsong, which is the series that I also still want to read by him. The next prompt is to start reading a book at night. So as a mood reader, that is perfect. So I think what I'm going to do at that stage is I might just look at the books that I'm behind on, like the reading challenges that I wanted to do that I'm behind on, and pick a book from those, just so that I can double up on what I actually achieve by finishing it. And then the final prompt is to read a book from an author that I've read from before. And for this, I decided to go with Ladies in Hating, which is a book the final book in the Belvoir Library series. So with this, yes, I'm starting a new series, but if I finish it, I will have also finished a series, which is the Belvoir Library series. Yes, I have started Ladies in Hating before and didn't continue. Again, we've been in mental health things happening, so we're not judging, we're not doing any of that. But what I did read from it is that it's going to be a lesbian romance, and it seems to be kind of enemies to lovers also. So also we're in a castle, and that's the last thing I remember, like an old dilapidated castle. So very excited to get back to that. And that might be the book that I want to start with. I don't know. I felt like when I was looking through books that I could start, which was basically any book from the series that I'm currently in, this one really kind of enticed me to go back to, because one, we're going to finish a series, and two, it just seems fun. You know, it's also short and sweet, so I think this might hit the exact spot. As a side note, important for this one is going to be to take note of where I start, like with which prompt that I start, because then we have to start reading it clockwise in order. So in that sense, it's going to be quite important to actually think it through and think, what am I in the mood for? Because it's going to decide which book I'm going to be reading next. Now, I'm not going to look at the books that I'm going to be reading in between for different challenges, or like in this month that I'm reading for classes. I'm not going to look at those. I'm not going to count those. I just feel like it's important that the books that I've decided I'm going to be starting for this section of Orilium should be read in order. So as of now, I have decided that this is something that I want to finish before September rolls around. Because there are more mini challenges that I have yet to do with Flux. I think there's also an astronomy challenge. Like, not a challenge, but like a quest with like a teacher, which I remember starting but didn't really finish, which also seems like it can go through more than just the month of the readathon. So there's more to do, is what I'm saying. There's more to do. And I also know that G likes to create new ones of these, so I don't think I'm going to be bored anytime soon. A little bit of a change of plans, but here we are. So let's get back to previous me to tell you when I didn't know about the plan. You get it. You get it. Let's go back. Now, am I going to fit any of these books in the yearly readathons that I'm doing? I don't know. And we're not going to worry about that because, again, buzzword, we can do it any time of the year. Goober Readathon, if I know anything of Yashi Corinne, who is the host of the Goober Readathon, I don't think she would mind if I read any of the books out of order, which is kind of what I have been doing because, again, reading slump, mental health, it was all there. But this is going to be, again, or something that I've noticed, it's going to be the year of just relaxing when it comes to all of these quote-unquote rules that there are when it comes to readathons, because it just adds stress that isn't necessary, and it also gives it a little bit more of a vibe that you need or you have to read certain books. And the moment that it becomes a chore, I lose any kind of fun that I have from reading. So let's just not do that. Let's not do that. All of the books on this list, I'm actually really excited about to get to. So it looks like it actually is going to be a very good reading month for me. With that, we've come to the end of this little TBR video. If you're going to be participating in Orilium Readathon, please let me know in the comments down below. Let me know what you're planning on reading this month. And I hope that I get to talk to you soon. Bye.